So let me ask you a question, Chad. So when you were starting out, or when you maybe chose the career to go into air conditioning, did
Mhm.
you clearly envision this day where you had this, larger, successful, profitable company that's growing, or is like, is it a series of choices that you made, or did you like veer off the path and how did you arrive here?
So I went. I guess from an early age, I really wanted to. Being from North Carolina, like this is the race car capital of the world, right? Like, I mean, NASCAR was born here. So I actually wanted to build race car engines, is what I wanted to do. My older brother, one of my older brothers, he was in racing. So the year that I was supposed to go get training for yeah, actual engine building, my oldest brother, had just started a HVAC company, and he's like, "Hey man, why don't you work here for the summer until you get ready to go, and then when you go," he's like, "and I'll pay you good money." So I was making $15 an hour out of high school, which to me, a little guy from the trailer park, I was like, "That's amazing. I'm working 60 hours a week. I thought I had hit the lottery every week, brother."
Mhm.
But 5 years in, the business kinda took a left turn and started doing some other things other than HVAC, and it just didn't work out. So, I actually went and got a job at UPS and, thought I was gonna get out of this industry, man. I had been burnt out, like, I was working a lot, and, then I found out that I don't know if you've ever thrown boxes at UPS, that is not a fun job, and, that is just as hot in the back of that truck as it is, in an attic in the summertime, and you make less money doing it. So I was like, "Well, we're gonna figure out how not to do that." And then I went to worked at actually MJ for about 5 or 6 years. Started at the bottom there. Had 5 years experience when I started. They started me as a maintenance tech, and then I took the job with this. I'll leave his name out, but he was one of my former managers, and he said, I said, so if I was to take this job and I'm better than you think I am, and I can prove myself. Will you move me up to, like a demand technician? And he was like, "Yeah, if you can prove yourself." So I think I spent about 6 months, maybe 3 to 6 months as a maintenance technician, and I was on the top of their board for accessory sales and those types of things. And then they moved me over, and then I became a selling technician. And from there, I actually took a little I felt a calling to go to the ministry. So, long story short, I spent 3 years as a on staff at a church doing kids ministry and everything under the sun. Like, if I don't know if any of you've ever worked at a church or had any family members that worked at a church, but ministry spelled WORK, work, and that's all it is. You don't do it for the money, but I'll tell you some of the leadership lessons and the things that I learned during that season has catapulted my life to a positive place. And
Awesome.
then from there, I felt like I could make a bigger impact on the world. And from there, I decided I wanted to launch out and do start a HVAC company. And I was about 32 or 33 years old at that point. And so I got my license, and I decided I would do I wanted to start the company, but I didn't want to be a burden on my employees. I never wanted to have a week where I didn't have enough money in the bank to pay my employees. So I started it this way. I got a third shift job working as a site engineer, which is just a babysitter for contractors, is what that pretty much was. And I worked from 11 to 7 at Time Warner Cable doing that. And then from 8 o'clock to 5 and 6 o'clock at night, I would run Chad Love Services. And I did that. I worked about 20 hours a day for a whole year. Um,
Mhm.
and that sacrifice
Wow.
laid the foundation for what you see today. And we just hit $10 million as a company, and we are we're crushing it. I
You're
got an
doing
amazing
so
team.
awesome.
Yeah, so we got
I
an
love it.
amazing team behind us, man, and we just getting started. We're just getting warmed up on this side of the planet.
This is awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I collapsed that down. That's my life story for the past 20 years in about, what was that? Maybe a couple of minutes.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure that
Is
it
that
was just
like
a
your life just flashed in front of your eyes?
Yeah. Well, like Landon said, I think, I remember all the hard times. I could tell you stories like I got,
Mhm.
there was times when we were at the church, I couldn't even, I didn't have enough money to put a heat exchanger in my own furnace. Um,
Wow.
So there's been some tough times, but that's the reason why I push so hard
Yep.
is because,
when did you have a family? So let's see. So you were. I'm trying to do the math now. You were like
Mhm.
22 or something when you had Lacey, and
Yeah.
then
So,
and Chase is older, right?
yeah. So Chase, we had, Lacey was born, or Chase is our oldest. So we had him, in 2002. So I was 22 whenever we had kids. Yeah.
And so
Young. The whole
when
time.
was
Yeah.
was that a big part of the impetus of finally like, man, I got to make some money and leave the ministry?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was one of those things where, it was, you don't do ministry or any of that stuff for the money. That ain't the real purpose of any of those
Yeah.
things. But it was one of those things. I look back and the seasons of, that ministry time really laid the foundation of what really, I wouldn't be here today if that wouldn't have happened. For sure.
That's
It, it,
awesome.
it definitely laid the foundation for, my family. But the kids were, there was a lot of nights where you come home, even just being in the service truck, you come home and, you know, they don't care that you worked all day.
Mm-mm.
You still got to be daddy. It's daddy time. So
That's
you
right.
you take that thing, you go with it. And, but I will say that I got an amazing wife. We didn't talk about her, but, I will tell you, a support team when you're growing a business is as important as anything.
Oh my
And
Yeah.
gosh, you're not kidding. I mean,
I,
poof,
I
big part of it.
couldn't quantify it. Like that's one of those things that I've been on this big kick recently. We got some big things that's coming out, but, force multipliers in your life. A good woman or a good man that is there by your side and supports you throughout that time can't can't even quantify it.
Nope.
Like when you get that kind of synergy in life and you're doing things, big things, and you got somebody in those moments when, because there's been a lot of times, and I'm sure you guys will know this, like there's a lot of times you ain't sure you're making the right moves and you don't know if you can really do it.
Yep.
And you're crying yourself to sleep at night thinking, if I could just have one shot at this, Lord, I'd make it happen. And
Yep.
you really ain't sure, but if you got somebody sitting there with you that's, got your back even in the tough times, man, you can make some magic happen.
It's amazing. I'm so glad you've touched on this because I mean, just this week alone, I've had to have some conversation with my wife, about some stuff. You know how we are. We're always digging, and then we reach that point where we just got to get that advice that they can give that we can't get anywhere else, right? And then I was telling her some things that I was struggling with, and I go to work the next day, and she knows what I got to do. I talked to her about it because I said, "This is my day tomorrow. This is what I got to deal with." Man, I started getting text messages from her. You can, all these positive messages, just keep it, you can do this, blah, 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 and it goes on and on and on. And it's those little things you're like, all right, she's right. What am I whining about? Be
Yeah.
stand up again. Let's go. And
Yep.
I ended up conquering it. The day wasn't anything like I thought it would be. It worked out great. But it all stemmed from I had a great partner that was there for me. And my story is, very similar to yours. My wife had a good job. I had a good job. My plumber passed away. And I end up, talking the owner into financing the company for me, the widow. And I go to my wife and I'm like, all right, so I want to buy this company. I don't know anything about it, but I think we could do good. I'm going to work hard and blah, blah, blah. And that's her that was her opportunity to go, are you crazy? You have a great job.
Right.
Right. And then
Yeah.
instead, what she says was, if that's your dream, I think you should do it. I go, well, it gets worse. She's like, well, what? She goes, I need you to quit your job too, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And she goes, all right, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And so we leave 2 very good jobs and go into this business. And kids, again, we were young like you as well, and we figured it out. But
Yeah.
man, I couldn't have done it without her. And so, and still 30 something years later, I still need her to tell me that I can do this. Right. So that's really awesome that you brought that up, and how your faith and all that. I mean, this all makes a difference, a big difference. Every week we're here to give you nuggets, golden nuggets, if you will, to help you run your business better. And it's very important that you like and subscribe so we can build this channel and we can help everyone in this industry as much as possible. So thanks again for watching.
No BS with Billy and Landon is produced and delivered to you by Sarah Systems. At Sarah Systems, we've created a better way to run your home service business and unlock unprecedented growth. Our field service software was designed by real home service professionals to help you save steps, charge for previously unbillable time, and win more business. But the true change requires more than software. Our live coaching helps you understand and control the aspects of your business that matter most. It's about time for a new era of service, and we're leading the way. If you're ready to join the hundreds of other contractors who've been able to increase profit margins more than 50% within 6 months, visit sarah.tech today. That's Sarah, SERA.tech today.